If you're into like dog training or dog behavioral videos, you might know who Dog Daddy is. This is him, the Dog Daddy. Apparently he's verified. Recently there's been a lot of controversy surrounding him, and I'm so glad it's finally happening. I've been saying that his training is so unethical for the longest time. His shorts always pop up in my feed, and it's always been like so frustrating to me to open up the comments and see how everyone's like, oh my god, what a miraculous dog trainer you are, blah 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 blah. And to be fair, like, if I had to guess, let's take all the United States, 350 million people or however many there are, I would say out of those 350 million, maybe 3 to 5% of those people really understand dog body language and dog training and the ethics behind and the science behind, you know, the best training methods. So it's not the people's fault who are watching and thinking this is amazing, because he's presenting it as, look at this dog before and after, look what I did, look what I did, I fixed this dog. But that's why I think like people that do understand dog body language and dog training like us need to kind of like go over why this is so problematic and really unethical what he's doing. So I wanted to just like go through some of his videos and go through like the dog body language of it all, because if you know dog body language, you will see his videos and think, oh my god, like how can people think this is okay? The dogs are shutting down, the dogs are terrified, this is not training, this is scaring the dog into not being able to act at all anymore. So first video pops up on my shorts is this video. The dog was untouchable before this. I'm pretty sure that's true. The Dog Daddy does work, by the way, I hate that name, but he does work with like a lot of intense dogs that are deemed aggressive, and a lot of them are deemed like, you know, unable to meet other people. So I get that, like, I hope / think that his intentions are probably good. I don't see why he would be like going out of his way to torture dogs. But I think Zach George mentioned this because he has like a big movement against Dog Daddy, but I'm pretty sure he has no qualifications to be training dogs at all. Not in terms of only certifications, but also in terms of like experience and like knowledge. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had good intentions, but is just doing it all wrong. We already see that he's forcibly grabbing the dog by the neck. I don't know what he's gonna do, so let's see. Okay, so first of all, dog is going wild. He has a muzzle on, so that's why Dog Daddy thinks it's like okay for him to grab the dog by the neck like that and force him to do whatever he's trying to do. I think he's trying to do like an alpha role. This is like Cesar Millan's favorite thing, where you flip a dog onto their back to show that they're submissive to you. Total BS. Don't do it. Don't do it with an aggressive dog. Don't do it with a passive dog. Don't do it with your dog. It makes no sense. It means nothing to them except for you're just hurting them. So I think that's what he's trying to do, or maybe he's just trying to like somehow control this dog. But the way to do it is not to grab. Dog body language, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Even if you don't know dog body language here, the dog is desperately trying to get out of fear and discomfort and anxiety. The dog is not comfortable, and this is not how you go about training a fearful dog, as he says himself. So he keeps holding onto the collar. Again, dumb move. Why are you doing this? It just doesn't make sense at all, but let's... Okay, here he's going like this over the dog's head, and the dog keeps looking up and kind of going like that, and that's because dogs don't like when you touch their heads, even if they're not aggressive. Most dogs will not enjoy this. Maybe if you have like a super cuddly dog that's your dog, he welcomes you to pet his head, and plenty of dogs do because they trust you. But if, again, in this case, he's saying this dog is aggressive towards people she doesn't know, yet Dog Daddy thinks it's a good idea to hover his hand over her head to go to touch her forcibly. Like, that doesn't make any sense. She's not into it. It's very obvious. She keeps ducking her head and looking up before he forcibly grabs her. Again, putting her in a really uncomfortable situation and setting her up for failure, because, again, this doesn't make sense to train a dog like this, to train a dog with pure force and fear. Okay, again, not so much body language, but dog training, because I also do dog training. The way he's holding the leash is also setting up the dog for failure. He's giving like this much room on the leash before he holds it. There's no slack on the leash. I get that he probably can't do much slack because this dog will probably come for him, but that's why this is not the way to do it. You would have to introduce yourself very slowly with a dog like this, probably include the owners if there's owners that this dog can trust. It just doesn't make sense. Nothing in this video makes sense so far. And by the way, I hate watching Dog Daddy's videos. I usually press like not interested and scroll past, but I think it's important to like face it and go over why it's so bad, because, you know, people probably just don't know. Okay, this is like an important part because it's a theme in a lot of his videos. He says, let me guide you on how I was able to get her okay with being pet and being around strangers in our first training session. Second part, he said, I was able to get her okay with being pet. And in this video, as you saw, he's touching the dog like forcibly again. And it seems, maybe if you don't understand dogs, that the dog is letting him do that. That's actually the opposite. The dog is clearly shut down right now. Her body is frozen. Her ears are pinned back. I think I could see like whale eyes. So her eyes are going like this, like side to side, showing the whites of her eyes, which is one of the signals that a dog is severely uncomfortable. And again, like she's so tense. Basically what happened is that she shut down, which means that because this guy forced himself so hard on this dog, you know, holding the leash that tight, forcibly holding her when she was trying to get away, it kind of became like a fight, flight, or freeze response, and the dog chose freeze. And this happens a lot when dogs shut down because they're too overwhelmed with negative feelings. So again, him saying I was able to get her to be okay with being pet is not true. It's misleading because she's not okay with being pet. He's just forcing her to, and he led her to the point of being shut down. The biggest red flag of this screenshot here is him saying, I made her okay with being pet and around strangers in our first training session. If anyone tells you online or in person that they can train a dog to go from like super aggressive towards strangers, bark, 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 trying to bite, to being okay in one session, in the first session, you need to go away from that person. You don't listen to them, you don't watch them, you don't trust them, you don't pay them to train your dog, because that's impossible. When a dog has such strong emotions towards something, positive or negative, it doesn't matter if they're aggressive or not. You can't change that in one session. You can't even change it in like 2 or 3 sessions. It usually takes months or maybe weeks if the case is not that extreme. Because when a dog has such strong emotions towards any type of trigger or stimulus, that means that the way you train them is to kind of reprogram their mind and counter condition them to associate that trigger or stimulus with a different emotion, more similar to neutrality rather than extremely negative or, again, extremely positive. So he's saying, I, transformed this dog in one session. He does this in all his videos, or at least the ones I've seen. And that's why I really can't stand this guy, because that's not possible. And all he's doing is showing how he's shutting down dogs. Okay, you can actually see the whale eye. She's doing whale eye. I mean, her code is pretty dark, so it's hard to see, and the quality of the video is obviously not that good. She is doing whale eyes. She's avoiding eye contact, and she's very stiff, and you could tell she wants to get out, but again, since she's shut down, she's kind of given up on that hope, and she's just kind of enduring him touching her. Oh, okay. I don't know how to reverse on YouTube Shorts. Can I reverse? No. But another thing he did when he got up from petting her was he got up, and I think he was hoping the dog would come towards him, but the leash gave no slack again. He was trying to pull her towards him again. Again, more evidence that this dog is not okay with this man. She does not want to be near him. She does not want to be touched by him for sure. But again, she's very shut down. She doesn't know what else to do. She's just frozen. Okay, here. Oh my God. Okay, again, I don't know how to reverse, but when he touched her, she literally like flinched. Similar to humans, when dogs do that, they're almost like surprised by that. They're like, whoa, why is this person touching me? I clearly don't want that. And the thing with dog body language, the reason why it's so important is because dogs can't say, hey, don't do that, like humans can. So we really have to respect their boundaries, because that's also how you get them to be trained better. Like, you can't force a dog to be one way or another by not listening to their emotions, if that makes sense, or their reactions to things. You can't force them to be nice to people just because you want them to by doing what Dog Daddy's doing here in this video. You have to work with them, listen to their cues, and go as slow as you need to. In the case of this dog, I would imagine it would take maybe even years to work with this dog to get to the level that maybe the owners want her to be or whatever. So the fact that he's doing this all in one session, I imagine he just met this dog. It's really unethical and really kind of disturbing. Okay, also again, panting, dog body language, she's very stressed. Not all panting is stress, because obviously dogs can pant when they're tired, a classic example. But as you can see, the dog's mouth, I mean, you can't really see that clearly. Maybe I can't see clearly, but I'm 99% sure the dog's mouth will be very tense. It's not going to be relaxed at the end of the lips. Again, showing tense. The ears are very tense. The body itself is very stiff. She doesn't want to be walking next to him, but he's forcing her with, I think, like a choke collar. I can't really see. So again, everything about this is just such a red flag. I can't wait to see the comments, what people think. Lots of panting, very stressed. Okay, wait, let me see what he says. So we got a muzzle on her for me to be able to desensitize her to being touched. This is the quickest way to help a dog overcome their fear, but don't do this at homeless. Bro, that's incredible that he said this. We got a muzzle on her for me to be able to desensitize her to being touched. This is the quickest way to help a dog overcome their fear. Again, such a red flag. You can't quickly help a dog overcome a fear, and putting a muzzle on a dog is not gonna, speed up that process. I do think putting a muzzle on the dog is very responsible, and I'm glad he did that. But he only did it so that he doesn't get bit, and he can do these types of videos where it's like a quick before after. You cannot force a dog to be desensitized quickly. Desensitization in definition is something that takes place over a long period of time, because again, it has to do with kind of rewiring your brain and changing the way a dog reacts to something, the same way it is with humans. It's the same things with humans, actually. So humans have something called exposure therapy. I've done it before for some of my problems, but it literally takes place over the course of several sessions, because you want to desensitize yourself to something very slowly and starting very, very small, very, very, not intense, and then working your way up to more intensity over the course of, again, weeks, months, maybe even years. So putting a muzzle on this dog and him forcibly touching her is not training. If anything, it's making the problem worse. Okay, this is also super important. People might think like, oh my God, you got the muzzle off and she stopped biting you. Again, she's still shut down. She's associating with this guy with being shut down, honestly, at this point. I bet if he went away and came back a few weeks later, she would act like she did in the beginning again. But at least for now, she's gonna be shut down because she knows how he treats her and how he was forcibly moving her along. So that's why she's not going for him. It's not like she actually enjoys being around this person. And again, you can tell with the tense body language. She's not even like, when you see a happy dog, if you have a dog, you probably know what I'm talking about. They have very loose body language. They don't necessarily have to be like wagging their whole butt and their tail to be happy, but it's very much loose. This dog almost looks like she's posing at like one of those dog shows, because that's how tense she is. And that's not a good sign when you're near a dog, especially if you know that they don't have a very positive experience with strangers. This is the first good thing he did, is give her treats. Using some sort of positive reinforcement, but I mean, everything else he does is so bad that I can't even, you can even see that she's like leaning away from him. She's following what he's doing because he has treats. Again, the one good thing he does is using positive reinforcement. Okay, so these are the comments that kind of make me sad, because again, these commenters are doing nothing wrong. They don't know, they just don't know dogs that well, so it's fine. But like this person saying, she just needed someone to tell her she's okay. Don't be afraid. I'm here. This young man's amazing. I get that if you don't understand dogs, you might think this is a really incredible thing. You see this before and after footage and you think, oh, wow, like it's just not the case. He truly is a gift from God. These are the comments that are kind of concerning. And the reason why I want to make a video on this, because, I don't care if 20 people see this, 50 people, one person. People need to know that this is not good dog training. He's not a gift from God. He's a terrible trainer. He's super unethical and treats these dogs terribly. Okay, this is another video he posted, something to promote his dog daddy class. Yikes, he has an online class now. That's horrifying that people will be learning from him. So he captions it, extremely dominant and powerful dog gives dog daddy a run for his money. Okay, what the hell? These are the videos I hate watching, because it's like, I bet the comments are positive too. Yeah. 90% dog owners are afraid to handle their dogs like this, and that's an issue. That's disgusting. The first thing he does is yank the dog up and choke him by the neck. This is a method you use when you're trying to stop a dog attack, for example, is when you have to kind of yank them up by the scruff of their neck to kind of choke them out so they can't breathe, so that they stop latching onto whatever they're biting. That's when you use this method. It's not when you're training a dog, and not when you're trying to help a dominant and powerful dog, aka a very fearful, anxious dog. It's not the way to forcibly grab them and hang them in the air and choke them. Like, this is disgusting. Again, The reason why this dog is hugging him, if we want to get into body language, is really not that complicated. The dog is just trying to take him down and also get him to stop choking him. The dog cannot breathe if he keeps being held, literally hung by this leash. I think we could also see the dog tried to bite him through the muzzle. Clearly the dog does not like being touched by this man. And I will say, like, it's really hard to train aggressive dogs. I used to work at a dog shelter, and I like had my own little project with them. And it is really hard to work with very, very aggressive big dogs, but this is not the way. It takes, again, weeks, months, years to work with those types of dogs. You need a lot of positive reinforcement, a lot of counter conditioning, a lot of desensitization that takes, it honestly takes weeks before you can even touch them. But that's how it has to be if you want sustainable, real, ethical results. It's not like this. Again, he keeps choking. It's really upsetting, actually. Like, the way he treats dogs is horrible. I honestly think he should be like banned from YouTube. He's disgusting. Again, are you serious? I don't know if you saw, he chokes the dog up and then pushes the dog's neck down. So trying to choke him and hurt him. I don't know if he thinks that this is like how he's controlling the dog, but he's using pure punishment. That's the problem. It's pure punishment. I know this isn't a lot of dog body language, but the reason why is because this guy will not stop moving and throwing this dog around like it's a rag doll. But as you can see, as anyone can see, this dog hates this. And I'm pretty sure at the end of this video, he's going to shut down. That's how all his videos go. Okay, again, punishing the dog for doing absolutely nothing. I think the dog was literally just putting his muzzle down because he's uncomfortable. He's clearly not used to wearing a muzzle. And dog daddy snatches up the leash to choke him out again. Oh wow, the dog was able to get the muzzle off, and of course he panics and starts launching the dog around the room. Okay, and now the funny thing is, now that the dog has his muzzle off and he wasn't even trying to do anything just now, he was just walking, and dog daddy snaps the leash back and the dog goes back to being alert. The dog was actually having a second of like relaxation for a second. I think he was probably shutting down, to be honest. He's not going to be relaxed around this. And then he yanks the leash to punish him for nothing. So again, besides body language, this guy doesn't understand dog training. He doesn't understand that you can't just punish a dog for no reason and think that that's going to make him act some certain way. I'm ready for the dog to shut down. Oh, it's happening. Okay, that's a good example. The dog's mouth, as I was trying to say before with the panting, is very tense. It's not relaxed. When a dog is panting out of like happiness or even exercise, it almost looks like they're smiling. Like it'll be very relaxed and it looks like the dog is happy, smiling, relaxed. But you can see his ears are very tense, his mouth is very tense when he's panting, and his body language is also, again, tense. All signs of a shutdown dog. I hate how other people are watching him thinking that this is good. Again, like, no hate to these people, but I hate that he's convincing people. Super stressed, doing some lip licking, which I mentioned in my previous dog body language video. Again, a sign of submission and stress and anxiety and being tense. And overall, again, the dog is about to shut down. Or he actually is shut down already. At this point, I think the dog is just mentally and physically exhausted as well, which is why he's listening. But again, one session will never get you results like this. So if you see any video, dog daddy or not, like this, just know that this is not training. Okay, I'm skipping to the beginning is kind of stupid, but this video of this dog that attacks dog daddy, something that's super funny about this is that, so the dog does go for dog daddy. I'm surprised he didn't get anything. He didn't bite anything, but he goes for it. Then at the end, dog daddy like swings him around on his leash. I think you could hear the dog whimpering a little because he chokes him out again. And then the dog sits at the end, and he posted this, so he must think that this is some kind of like accomplishment. But again, he's just shutting this dog down. The poor dog, it's not funny at all. It's just funny how stupid this guy is. But it's incredible that he can post this as a successful video, even though all he's doing is, again, shutting the dog down. That's the theme with all his videos. He starts with a super extreme case of a dog that needs training, fair enough. But then he just, I don't even know what the word, like, doubles down on the dog over and over and over and over again until the dog shuts down, and then he posts it as a success, being like, oh, look how much I changed this dog. It's really disgusting and really misleading because it's not training. Okay, also this video, like, this dog gets handed off from his owner to Dog Daddy, who's very comfortable with his owner, but as soon as Dog Daddy forcibly takes the leash and pulls him as close as he can to himself, which I don't know why he does, the dog obviously gets angry, as anyone can expect. Then he captions it, Dog Daddy must get the beast under control, establish leadership, get the dog comfortable with following directions, and teach the owners to do the same. Establish leadership is fine if he wasn't doing this. Establishing leadership doesn't mean using force and forcing a dog to do something by throwing them around with a choke collar. But all establishing leadership can be done with pure positive reinforcement and negative punishment. Negative punishment, I think I made a video on this a while back, does not mean punishing your dog with any sort of force. It just means taking away something good. The difference is Dog Daddy does everything with negative reinforcement and positive punishment, the two things you don't really want to focus on, which is amazing that this guy is so quote unquote successful. Okay, again, he's using force, trying to get the dog to lay down or something, I don't know. Again, we have nervous panting. I mean, I've said it like a million times in this video, but it's obvious. Tail is, I mean, it's, well, this is kind of a tangent, but this is another reason why you shouldn't dock your dog's tails or ears. Tails and ears are very, very indicative parts of a dog's body. I know some dogs don't have tails naturally, but never dock a natural dog's tail because, again, tails and ears indicate a lot of things like anxiety, happiness, sadness, like all those kind of things. Same with the ears. And when you dock that from a dog, not only is it harder for humans to read their body language, to be able to work with them better, it's also harder for other dogs to read their body language. And I actually read something interesting the other day that said, like, I think Dobermans get their ears cropped, one of the most common breeds to get their ears cropped. And that also leads to a lot of dog fights because other dogs cannot interpret that Doberman's dog body language. And it also leads to people thinking Dobermans are some sort of aggressive breed. Again, why are we modifying dogs' physical appearance for whatever the hell standard we want? It's so important for them to be able to communicate. And again, in this case, I can't even tell what his tail is doing because it's so short. I'm pretty sure it was docked, but quick tangent though, just don't do it. It just hurts your ability to read their body language. You said you was king. Okay, again, panting, looking around, doing the whale eyes. This dog is not comfortable. He's not listening out of wanting to listen, which is what you want with a dog. You want a dog to want to collaborate with you, or else training is pointless, because what's the point? I'm like scared what he's gonna do next. Also, can we just talk about how this is like a silly comment, but I love how he like drips out for all his videos, because I feel like, and I don't know this for sure, but I feel like he almost treats dogs more extremely, like with the yanking and all that kind of stuff, because he knows it'll get attention, negative and positive, and he knows that's good for the algorithm. That's just, I think that's why he dresses like this. Poor German Shepherd, getting yanked all over. Okay, I don't even know, he didn't do anything with that. That was a long video with only a few videos, but my point is that I think people should familiarize themselves with dog body language and also just basic dog training and science-backed dog training before they listen to someone like Dog Daddy. I think it's super harmful, super dangerous, and yeah, it's just disappointing to see these kind of videos. I think it's really harmful to dogs everywhere because people will be watching this and try to use the same, like utilize the same techniques with their dog, which is something we definitely should not be doing. But yeah, if you're someone that's maybe new to dogs, I strongly encourage you to read up on it. Watch some positive reinforcement, dog training methodology videos, read some things, because anyone that understands dog body language and dog training would understand that Dog Daddy is definitely not it.